Hello, Kindred Longevity Lifestyle Designers. This is Zach here with secretsoflongevity.com. This is a very interesting topic. I've been reading about this for ages. It is very vast and complex and difficult to really fully understand. So I'm just going to be summarizing a few ideas around stem cells, and largely what the purpose of this video is to give you some ideas of the natural means that one can begin to increase the proliferation of them if that happens to be waning as you age. And in time there's going to be wonderful therapies at our disposal, such as induced pluripotent stem cell therapy, and I'll get into what that means exactly later in the video. But there already are stem cell therapies available, and there will be more and better ones in the future. But through diet and lifestyle, when we have these extra things going on in our day-to-day living, that greatly enhances the amount of things we don't have to do extra in terms of extra therapies, which at the moment are very costly, and we don't know at what point these are going to become available. So we want to take extremely good care of ourselves in order to allow us to reach that point when those therapies will finally become available, and those are going to be able to be used for mass consumption. So to give a definition for the complete noob to the word stem cell, this is basically a cell in the body, or at the core of our body, that is then released from the bone marrow. It's produced in the bone marrow, and it has the ability to turn into a large variety of different cellular types. So if you had severe brain damage, for instance, if your body was still healthy enough and producing enough stem cells and they knew where to go, you could produce them and have them repair parts of the brain. They can literally turn into cells in the body of any organ system that is heavily damaged or in a state of disarray. So as one of the major causes of aging, and this video, by the way, is a part of an ongoing series I'm doing on the causes of aging, of which there are multiple types, and this is just to get people familiar with these different types so that you can learn the approaches that one would take to solve and work on reducing the effects of these different causes. In some cases we can completely wipe out these causes, in some cases we can only reduce them to the best of our ability as we currently understand with the technologies we have. And I'm focusing on more holistic type technologies, but I'm also in this video mentioning these more medical type technologies which are coming down the chute and will be at your disposal in the future. So yeah, this link here goes to that sort of table of contents video that will take you to the other videos I've done so far, and there's already starting to build up a few of them there. And this series is actually one of the most important on my channel because it really does get down to the core foundational aspects of aging, what we can do to slow it down and in time increase our potential for our lifespans exceeding that of our ancestors had ever been able to achieve as far as we know. So stem cells, like I said, they're these very crucial cells that have this immense ability to heal and repair damaged tissue. There's a lot of controversy around the research surrounding stem cell technologies because at one point the only way to get viable stem cells was from basically the spinal fluid of embryos or fetuses almost. It's actually a very early stage of development of human embryos. This isn't even a human because it doesn't even have the development of limbs, it doesn't even have a heart, doesn't have the pineal gland. It's actually only after 5 days that the embryo is at that state where it is actually viable to remove these stem cells and then propagate them and then eventually inject them into someone. So this obviously has controversy, and recently in 2009 it was Obama who canceled the ban that the Bush administration had put on stem cell research. So there's a lot of different aspects to stem cell research. It's not just on fetuses and embryos, and regardless of getting into the reasons why or why not we should be doing embryonic stem cell research, there's a lot of other aspects to stem cell research that are very beneficial and that we can get great benefit from. So a very popular one that's actually becoming very viable is the stem cells extracted from the umbilical cord when you're born. So if you happen to have been born recently, you're probably not watching this video at this time, but maybe several years down the road if you're watching this video, you were lucky enough to have your parents freeze and keep your umbilical cord. They're now actually keeping umbilical cords from anyone that doesn't claim them and using those to treat people because they can extract these few stem cells that are in there. So if you've had your own umbilical cord saved, you have the ability to extract those stem cells, and they're very much accustomed and aligned with your body that, 50, 60, 70 years down the road, if you ever have any issue like a heart problem, you had a heart attack and there's damaged heart tissue, they can inject those cells in there and they're going to be doing their repair work probably more efficiently than if you had someone else's stem cells. But for those of us who haven't had the opportunity to have had our umbilical cord saved and frozen for later use, there is a new technology emerging. It's still not clear how effective this is going to be, but it is called induced pluripotent stem cells. So this is when they take adult stem cells, which have a limited ability to actually affect healing in the body. Adult stem cells are great. We want to continue to be able to produce them in large quantities and have our bone marrow producing them and sending them to the right areas of our body. But there are certain areas of the body that they can't fully work on, and that's why embryonic stem cell research was so crucial, but obviously it had its stigma around it. But the embryonic stem cells had a lot more viability in terms of being able to work on any tissue in the body. It could massively heal really intense damage to any part of the body, essentially. So what they're actually able to do with induced pluripotent stem cell therapy is revert, by tampering with the genes of a stem cell, revert it back to an embryonic stem cell. And so they do this with a bunch of your own stem cells. They'll take it out of you. I believe they're even able to do this with skin cells or epidermal stem cells. So there's a lot of different types of stem cells. It's, again, like I'm saying, it's very complex. Basically, in embryonic stem cells, you have two different types. The most potent type, which aren't really used because it's at the moment when the sperm and egg meet and for the first few days, is what's known as totipotent stem cells. So there's these two types, totipotent and pluripotent, in embryonic stem cells. Totipotent is that first one that can become any cell, but it can also become the uterus lining. And if you had a little laboratory in your hand somehow and you had a totipotent cell, you could turn that totipotent cell into a full-fledged human because it has the ability to create the environment around the dividing cells to create new life. The pluripotent stem cells are extremely powerful anyways, but if you just had pluripotent cells, you couldn't turn them into a human. You'd have to inject those into the body somewhere and then they can become anything. So they need that sort of container, as you would imagine it. So the totipotent is that first type. The pluripotent that are really focused on as being the most beneficial, and those comprise embryonic stem cells. Then the other type is adult stem cells. So once we've grown up past being a kid, we've somewhat run out of embryonic stem cells and we have adult stem cells, and there's a wide range of types within adult stem cells. And these range from basically the last of our embryonic stem cells, which have the most viability of transforming into our various tissues, and then you get the ones that are a step down each time. So the way they divide it up is like you have your stem cells that can do the most changing into any type of cell. Then there's ones that can only do certain types of tissues. Then there's ones that only work on a few really specific tissues. And then there's finally one that only works on one type of tissue. So you might have a stem cell that could become any type of nerve tissue, brain cell, anything throughout the nervous system. Then a step down, you might have a type of stem cell that could only become anything that's within the brain. Then you might have another one that can only become one type of cell in the brain, in a certain part of the brain. Another example of this is stem cells in the muscle tissue. Exercise is known to break down muscles, and what rebuilds our muscles so fast is actually the production of stem cells in our muscles. But those stem cells can only make muscle tissue. They can't suddenly navigate around our body and create other parts. So those are great to have, those types of stem cells, but they're not as effective as the ones that are a little bit more scaled back that we have in our bone marrow that are then released and go throughout the body and can heal various things. So I hope that hasn't been too heady and too complicated for you to understand. I wanted to get into a few of those things so you can understand why, as someone ages and they have a reduced ability over time to secrete these stem cells, and it's almost as if you have your most viable stem cells when you're young and they deplete in terms of how far up the stage they are in terms of being able to become anything. So you can imagine as that depletes, then you're less and less able to repair these very unique and delicate parts of your body. Everyone knows that as a kid or as a toddler or as a baby, you had or have extremely good abilities to repair and heal from damage. There's been stories about babies that have had the tips of their fingers chopped off for whatever reason in some sort of accident. I mean, really, really young babies, and they've actually been able to grow back the whole tip of the finger. By the time they're an older kid, there's not even a scar there. Whereas if you're an adult and you lose the tip of your finger, I'm just talking like a few millimeters. If the baby lost obviously half the finger, it's not going to grow back like a lizard or any certain types of reptiles. Which, by the way, is very interesting because there's a lot of research that's done on these animals that are able to regrow large amounts of their body, and they have very unique abilities to create these really high quality stem cells. So a baby that loses the very tip of his finger could potentially regrow that little tip. And then if you think of yourself as a kid, you might have had an accident at one point and been scarred, and you notice when you become an adult that scar is extremely faint, or maybe it completely went away. But if you cut yourself in the same way, it might not even be as deep or as serious a wound, but you just end up with the most visceral and really obvious scar that doesn't go away for years and years and years, and might fade a little bit, but over time it just simply doesn't. This is related to your stem cell potential in some respects. There's also other things like proteolytic enzymes that get depleted over time, and that's going to be a subject for another video in this series in the future. So, what can we do to maximize the output of these stem cells in our own bone marrow? That's where they're produced. Well, exercise is great, has a lot of health benefits, but stem cells is not something that most forms of exercise impact. There's a lot of talk around certain types of qigong practices and a lot more esoteric practices potentially having the ability to increase the output of stem cells, and this is because these are very Jing building exercises. Generally speaking, really what we'd call more external forms of exercise, sprinting, jogging, weightlifting, they're not going to have the same impact that really deep meditation can have because it's more internal. And from a Chinese medicine perspective, when we think of Jing, Qi, and Shen, which I've talked about many times on my channel, Jing is that core foundational essence, and it includes a lot of these vital hormones that are very beneficial for anti-aging, but it also includes your stem cell production. And bone marrow, it's often talked about that bone marrow is a quality of Jing, so the health of your bone marrow is related to Yin Jing, which explains why it has been labeled that way. So anything that helps the bone marrow produce these things is going to be known as a Yin Jing tonic, but also as something that is a stem cell proliferator. It helps produce the stem cells. One of the first foods or herbs or supplements that has been identified as having the ability to be a stem cell proliferator is the phycocyanin, which is the blue pigment found in Aphanizomenon flos-aquae. That is a blue-green algae, also known as Klamath-like algae. The most famous brand is E3 Live. There's been a company that took that phycocyanin and made a super potent extract of it and was selling that as a stem cell enhancer. But in my opinion, it's always better to get the whole food because there's a lot of components in the E3 Live, the AFA, that are very good for building the blood. They have tons of minerals. There's all sorts of other benefits from it. So we don't need to be isolating the phycocyanin, even though that's great if you do have an opportunity to use that. But you can still get the same effects from E3 Live, from the Brain On, and from the other products that are available from that company or any other company that's producing the Klamath-like algae. You can check out in the links below an affiliate that I have for E3 Live. It helps me continue to put out really good content such as this video. And as you guys know, I've been a big fan of E3 Live for a long time. It's something I very much use myself and is part of my anti-aging strategy just because of the profound benefits it has. So you can check out this link here if you want to see a past video I've done on E3 Live if you want to learn more about the specifics as to what it can do for the body. Another thing that's been found to help with the proliferation of stem cells is the nutrient vitamin D. So we need to get plenty of vitamin D in our lives, whether it's from direct sunlight on our skin or from consumption of vitamin D from a whole food like fermented cod liver oil, or taking the supplement vitamin D3. So getting 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,000 international units a day, depending on your weight and size, is ideal. Even going a little higher than that is what some people recommend. But you need to be getting enough of that you are able to build a strong immune system and have the potency of the release of the stem cells maximized as well. So I had a little chunk of video disappear on me somehow amidst the transfer to my computer. So I'm just going to fill in a few minutes with me as I am this morning. I just got up in the middle editing the video and I just want to get it done, so bear with me and we'll be back to what I was shooting previously. So the next few things that got cut off were blueberry, whether it's the extract or the whole berry, has been found to be help with stem cell proliferation. Interestingly enough, if you consider the rarity of the blue pigment that's found in nature in foods, you see it in phycocyanin, you see it in blueberries. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any others. There's obviously a few other fruits that are blue in color, which makes me wonder if they have an effect on the help with the proliferation of stem cells from the bone marrow. But blueberries have been found to be able to do this, so has the phycocyanin. And yeah, so eat blueberries. There's not much more that I can say about it other than these are wonderful fruit. People know that. It's a lot more than just a potent antioxidant. Then you also have astragalus root, which has been found to be a stem cell proliferator. And then another popular one, which is getting a lot of press lately, is green tea or green tea extract. So when I've been looking at a lot of the formulations for a lot of these stem cell proliferator supplements that are out there as a whole unit, these ones I've just mentioned tend to be in a group, and there's obviously some other ones that they add in there, and not every formulation is going to be the same, but these are the top ones that are the most well researched. You might just want to try using these daily for a set period of time, even a long period of time. They're all very safe to use. And one other addition that you might want to consider adding to this regimen, whether you're getting it from diet, which is hard to get enough of it in my opinion, is carnosine. Now this is one of the most amazing nutrients for potential longevity. It is found to be a stem cell proliferator, and uniquely it is found in red meat and other types of meat, so it's not something you can get on a vegan or vegetarian diet. However, there are vegan supplements that Gabriel Cousins has actually been a big promoter of this, and some of the research around it I've been reading from his site, one of his blog posts. And what he talks about is that there's an enzyme that breaks carnosine down. So if you're just consuming red meat, which is wonderful, has a lot of healthy benefits, you're potentially not even getting the carnosine from it, because there is this enzyme which breaks it down at around the 250 milligram amount. So going up to 1,000 milligrams is going to use up that enzyme that breaks it down, and then we'll have a little bit extra, 750 or so milligrams, to be able to have all these benefits. So whether you're a vegan or an omnivore, it can be very beneficial to supplement with it. However, I do personally believe that omnivores that are eating red meat on a regular basis are going to be getting some amount of carnosine. There's just going to simply be some that gets by this limiting factor in our digestive system. So one of the things that carnosine does, in addition to the stem cell release, is increasing the Hayflick limit of the cells in our body. So the Hayflick limit is going to be a topic for another video in this series. That series I still have posted up there. And it's very good at obviously extending the life of the cells. So if you want to know more about that, subscribe to this channel, because in the future I'll be doing a video on the Hayflick limit and how to overcome and extend that limit that is potentially imposed on a lot of cells in our body in the conventional paradigm if we're not doing anything in addition to a regular diet to help promote that. Another thing carnosine does is it reduces the telomere shortening rate. So that's another topic I'll be doing in the near future as part of this series. Telomeres are the strands in our DNA that contain our genetic code, and through stress, through just division of our cells, they tend to short over time. There are proven things that have been shown to be telomere lengtheners, one of which is an extract from astragalus. Now that extract is extremely potent, so it's actually impossible to get that from astragalus in its unique whole form. So that's in one respect why there are these unique things coming out that go beyond what we can just get from the plant kingdom or the herbal kingdom. But that just gives you an idea of the potential that's held within this amazing plant. Now, another thing with carnosine is that it inhibits the glycosylation of our tissues. Another thing I've done in my videos in the past is a video on AGEs. Basically, glycosylation is the same thing, although it involves an enzyme where a sugar bonds to a fat or to a protein and causes an accelerated glycation end product. However, AGEs can happen one of two ways, through an enzyme reaction or a non-enzymatic reaction. The AGEs are non-enzymatic, glycosylation is enzymatic. We really don't need to know the specifics of that, except that carnosine helps slow that down and inhibit it occurring within our body. So of all the stem cell proliferators, the final one I'm going to mention, which is another extremely powerful one, probably the most powerful of all of these. Obviously, carnosine has a lot of different effects that we've talked about here, but this is more specific for stem cell proliferation. Actually, the AFA would definitely be on par with this, but colostrum, when it's in its least processed state possible, we're going to have a wide range of benefits that can occur from it, from the consumption of it, and I'll stick a video right here if you want to learn more about colostrum in general, but it does have a stem cell proliferating quality about it, as well as a number of other anti-aging benefits. It has over 87 different growth factors, which are compounds that increase the production and regeneration of our tissues. I've personally had amazing experiences with gum regeneration. Some really powerful tooth things that have gone on where I've had healings of various pains and things in my mouth. Nothing too serious, but things that were noticeable. I also, at one point, when I first started using colostrum, I had almost like a pimple, a very deep pimple come out of my eyelid. It was painful and red, and then it came out, and it was actually burst within 2-3 days of using colostrum. And even more recently, I've started using fresh raw colostrum, which I've been getting from a local place in my area, that when you get it like that, just literally harvested the day before, it's extremely potent. And if you want to talk about healing crises, there's a lot of people out there that talk about healing crises from various diets and things, but I don't think you've experienced a healing crisis until you've taken such an immune fortifying food or superfood such as colostrum, where it just ramps up the level of your immune system's ability to fight off these latent infections you might have going on in your body, and starts kicking these things out. You might manifest a sore throat for a day or two, or any other symptoms in your body of these things getting released, which is obviously a good thing. So Thrival has a wonderful type of colostrum that they sell on their site. You can find it at the links below. It is very minimally processed. It's just been dehydrated down to a powder. It is one of the only colostrum powders out there that's been third-party verified as actually helping increase the production of all these different anti-aging effects and these regenerative factors, which, according to the studies done by Cornell, is actually not apparent or not an effect that comes with all types of colostrum. So definitely check that out in the links below. Last two things I'm going to talk about, and these are not stem cell proliferators, but they actually contain stem cells in them that our body can use. These are deer placenta or deer antler, or other cervid animals, the products from these. So the popular one that I've recommended for a long time is Thrival's elk velvet antler. That's found at the same page that you can get the colostrum at the links below. But deer placenta is a popular one as well. There's regenerative compounds in that. They both also increase IGF-1 production. I'll be doing a video in the near future on how safe IGF-1 actually is. There's a lot of misinformation out there about IGF-1 and people saying it causes cancer and things like that. So yeah, there's literally compounds in elk antler and deer placenta which can increase the production and regeneration of certain tissues. There's been people with profound nerve damage regeneration from taking elk antler. There's been skin burns that have healed from the use of elk antler, as well as the colostrum. You can use it topically from burns and really damaged skin. There's been women who have gone through menopause who have actually returned to having a cycle. Not that that's the most desirable thing necessarily if you've already gone through menopause, but that just shows the power of these unique compounds, these foods, these herbs, these superfoods have in eliciting this anti-aging effect in the body. So let me know in the comments below if you've used any of these things, what you think of stem cells, what you know about it. Just say anything you want, obviously. And also rate and share this video to help spread the word. Check out the links below to help continue to support me. I really appreciate it. And it allows me to step up the production of my videos here. I've recently purchased a new camera, which is allowing me to bring better content to you guys. And with that, Take care and embrace life without limits.